Now to tonight's History's headlines. A future steel tycoon presses his luck.
Before he became head of Bethlehem Steel, Charles Schwab was making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Charlie Schwab stayed clear of some vices.
He didn't smoke, drank very little, a glass of champagne now and then.
But not all. He did like to gamble, and it was a habit that, in 1902, landed the future head of Bethlehem Steel in some very hot water. At the time, everything was going right for this rising star.
He was working very closely with Andrew Carnegie, who was a steel magnate, and also with J.P. Morgan, who was a financier and also had an interest in the steel company.
Schwab was born in Williamsburg, Pennsylvania in 1862. In 1883, he married Emma Eurana Dinky, who hailed from Weatherly in Carbon County. Schwab began his career as an engineer for Carnegie Steel Works. When the United States Steel Corporation was formed in 1901,
Charlie Schwab was made president. Now, he was 39 years old at that time.
The following year, during a visit to France, he made a side trip to Monte Carlo.
There was a feeling at the time that Monte Carlo was regarded as a place of sin by many Americans.
Apparently, Schwab gambled the night away at the roulette table. A newspaper reporter happened to be there and saw the whole thing. Schwab breaks the bank was the headline the next day. When news of his exploits crossed the Atlantic, Andrew Carnegie was horrified, and the board of U.S. Steel had some questions.
Can you trust him? How do you know he won't gamble away the company's money?
J.P. Morgan did what he could to help the U.S. press forget about Schwab's gambling. Eventually, the whole thing blew over, but some of the higher-ups at U.S. Steel never got over their distaste for Schwab.
There was all this tension back and forth, and finally, in 1903, Schwab had left and got involved in other steel interests.
Schwab became head of the Bethlehem Iron Company, later Bethlehem Steel. But his lavish spending would come back to haunt him. The stock market crash of 1929 finished off what was left of his fortune, and he died in 1939 deep in debt.